Well, hopefully they will hear us in a minute or two. Good evening. This is live news for March of 2024. I'm here. Scott's here. Let's just
I
flip
am.
over the view so you can actually see us. And let me mute the sound on that so you don't hear us multiple times. Random can't make it. I spoke to him a bit earlier. He is unable to make it. Sparkle should be joining us in around 60 to 90 minutes if all goes to plan. If not, well, if it goes
Well,
really...
we'll know when he joins because we'll be in the middle of a discussion. Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, guys, talking about.
yeah. So if
I
you
bet
hear
he
that,
merges
type in
same
the
way.
phrase that
He
pays.
just comes flying up the on ramp and turns left into traffic.
What I miss? So he wanted us to wait for him, but that would make it rather late for me. So we're going to do what we've been up to this month, and then when he barges the door open, he can do what he's been up to. He didn't want to miss out on that. He was rather precious about that. So what have we been up to this last month? I've been watching some TV, some new shows, some old shows. Been watching a lot of wartime stuff. For I don't know, for any particular reason. I started watching an old show from the 70s called Colditz. And there was a new show. Scott may know more about it than I do, but I wanted to wait till it had finished, and that was Masters of the Air. But before I watched that, I wanted to re-watch Band of Brothers and the Pacific, and Paul has never seen either of them, so we just got through Band of Brothers.
Really?
Yeah, we've just done Band of Brothers. We're about to start the Pacific, and then we'll do Masters of the Air. So if it's worth it, let me know. If it's not worth it, let me know. You might save me some time.
Well, I tell you what, Band of Brothers in the Pacific, absolutely incredible. I think that the three best uses of television in the history of television, in terms of not like covering, say, the moon landing, things like that, right? In terms of not just live coverage, in terms of, TV, like, entertainment stuff, the three most important things I think that could have ever been done is Band of Brothers, the Pacific, and From the Earth to the Moon. Those are definitely 1, 2, and 3 of the top three for me. Masters of the Air, I'm very cautious and hesitant because it is an Apple TV production, and I'm fairly certain they've stuffed some shit in there that has nothing to do with it. Oh no, trust me, it'll be whatever the fucking current hot topic of the day is. They'll manage to weasel that shit in there. If they don't, my jaw will be on the floor. So I'm gonna wait till it's all. I think that's either now or very soon. Wait till it's all out there, and then wait till I hear back from somebody else. Like, no, it's woke free, or yeah, it's a problem. You will get no respect or love from me if you suddenly have the members of the Bloody Hundredth wrestling with their interviews on the integration of the latest marginalized groups into, no.
Hmm.
You know why they called it the Bloody Hundredth?
No.
Because they just about all fucking died running bombing runs over Nazi Germany, okay? So fuck off with trying to make it something else.
Yeah. Your video's not showing up for some reason. I'll look into that in a moment.
I see it.
Yeah. I don't see it on the feed for some reason. I shall investigate. Other TV shows. It won't be something your end. It'll be something mine. The Gentleman.
Mathematical options.
Yeah. The Gentleman was a film with Matthew McConaughey a few years ago, and they have now done a series of it. It's on Netflix. I just watched that. It's pretty good. There's a couple of maybe one episode that's slightly weaker, but I think you always get that anyway. But just it's a good show. More of the same. Following on from the film. So that I would recommend that. And been watching, going back, you heard of a British guy called Fred Dibner?
Oh, dude. He is the Osama bin Laden of the UK. He has
Yeah.
knocked down more towers into cities than you can imagine.
Yeah.
A great danger to public safety.
Yes. Well,
No, I tell you what, man. Not only do I'm fully aware of him. I think I've watched everything the man ever did. He was more or less just a master of the mechanical, particularly the British stuff of the late 1800s, and steam engine, early gas engine, whatever. His profession was a steeplejack, which basically, for some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it's aftershocks from the big war, but the British are very averse to detonating large amounts of explosives to bring down the old buildings. So they're like, okay, we got this chimney that we need to bring down so we can build something. Can we blow it up? Nope. All right, we'll take it down by hand. So they got these fucking people climbing up. And what he did is he would literally like scale the outside of a smokestack and then from the outside, remove key structural bits and assess it. And then he'd come back down and then he'd sit there with a sledgehammer, a cigarette, and a couple of assistants. And he would knock out brick by brick and replace it with beams of wood. Then set the wood on fire. So when the wood burned away, you're now missing a chunk of the chimney, and down it would come. But yeah, he dropped buildings all over that place. Did anybody get hit, Michael? Are you okay?
No, I'm okay. I did actually go and watch him knock down a couple. He did a lot around here, a lot of mills and what have you around here. You've been to a couple of them, but he's from not far from here, where we went to that steam museum, and they had all the different engines in that one building. He lives not too far from there, or lived. He's no longer with us. But anyway, been going back watching a lot of his old shows. So that's it for TV then. I discovered something that I never knew was a thing, and I've put a couple of links in the show notes. Tether cars. Now I've put a link to like a 50s video, a video of a 50s tether car, and then one from 2000s. So basically these things, if you don't know, there's like a ring of concrete, and then you have a car that runs around this ring of concrete, but you're stood in the middle. Now originally you would have hold of a tether, and you would you'd start the car off because they're very high geared, and then you'd give it like a push start, and it would have a one-cylinder petrol engine, I guess, although there's electric ones now, and obviously.
Well, yeah,
and it would start moving, and you would start to turn around holding the tether, and then as it got faster, you'd like stand still, and then as it came round the back, you'd sort of put the tether up over your head, and then it's back in front of you again, and you do that. And then these things just got so fast that like they had to have a platform in the middle to stand on, because literally these things just whip round. They'll do over 200 miles an hour. And like if you get your foot in the way of that, it'll just take your foot completely off. It's so dangerous. But they scream around these circular tracks. It's ridiculous how, where it started, where it is now. It's just crazy to watch.
Well, a lot of this stuff dates back to the teens, the last teens. And what they would do is, so you would have tether boats and tether cars. And the same idea, like you'd have a little platform in a little pond, and, the boat would go around. And the tether cars were extremely popular, and they just kept evolving. Yeah, and by the 50s, they were breaking 200 miles an hour. And so out of that, it's hard to say exactly which one came first, depending on what you read. But out of that, model airplanes came about. Initially, they had what was called tether planes, right? And they were just basically the plane stabilized itself and was out on a monoline. Well, they wanted to control it, so later they came up with what was called control line, or U-control. And I still fly this stuff. It's actually really fun. Yeah, the Cox was the major brand, as was Testors growing up. And, basically you would have, a handle like this that you would tilt. And as you tilt the handle, it pulls the lines, and the elevator would go up or down. So you could make the plane loop, climb, dive, basically you could do anything in a two-dimensional view, right? Then in the 50s, 60s, they started doing carrier competitions. So you would actually have like a third trigger for like the throttle. And, as you would pull the throttle trigger, you could actually slow the thing up and then kill it and land on the carrier deck. So we got a question here. He says, was
the tether for
Neil
steering?
Ballmer.
No, Scott's audio was gone. It did this the other night. How did I fix it? 1 second. I think I had to drop the car. Oh, he's gone. He's frozen. Oh no, he's still moving there, but he's frozen up there. Let me jump up there. I'm not jumping anywhere. No need for that. Let's reload the side. See what happens. Are you back?
Yes, I was never gone.
No. It did that the other night. I need to figure out what's going on there.
It did the exact same thing. Basically, it sounded either like a mic battery dying or just the audio. It just digitizes, breaks up, and goes away. So, for tether cars, tether planes, and tether boats, it's just a tether, right? And Neil asked the question, why not just put it on a pole or a stand? Well, where's the fun in that? But they came out with the U-Control. I mentioned they went, just first flight and then control. Then they got into combat. So you would actually have like say Michael and I would go out and launch our planes. And then on the back of each plane is about a 4-foot streamer made out of crepe paper. And you would just basically constantly maneuver to get behind the other guy and clip his streamer, all of that basically kind of died overnight when radio control emerged as an affordable, viable alternative, and that was the end of that stuff. In terms of market dominance, today, I mean, like you go back and watch, like the videos from the 40s, 50s promotional stuff, and Cox was doing they were doing demos at Disneyland and all kinds of places, state fairs and all, and there were control you look at public parks from the that were built in the 30s, 40s, 50s. So basically the ones that like Michael and I, grew up going to. If you ever look at a lot of them, you'll see these round concrete circles. And those were control line circles. That's how popular the hobby was. But once radio control became viable, it blew the control line stuff out of the water. So Michael, I assume you're still there?
Yes, still here.
Before we get on to the retro gaming, just pop into YouTube real quick and look up Pulse Jet control line. Now, this was peak Cold War absurdity. The V1 Buzz Bomb, how it's not a true jet engine. Basically, it's an expansion chamber that it injects fuel and air, blows up, more air comes in. It's basically a tube that just generates pulses, and it makes a hellacious buzz. Well, the control line version of that, those would do up, easily in the 400s. And you just basically hear, vroom, vroom, vroom.
Yeah.
And you can hear it from literally 10 miles away. It'll shake your windows.
Yeah, I could see this thing now. It's just mental.
So,
I wonder if anyone got cut in half by one of these things. Oh, your video's back on the stream, by the way. So that's good.
Somebody almost did once upon a time. So there
was it Little Scott?
No. Well, I was going to be the cutter, not the cuttee. So there's this multi-use field near where I went to college, and it literally giant sign up. It said first come, first use, right? So there were 3 of us down there flying RC helicopters, right? And these fucking sports bros show up, and they got their soccer ball and their soccer outfits and all, and they start fucking around with this ball. And we're out there flying these helicopters. Now the helicopters, particularly these things, the blades have more than enough energy to. I mean, it hits you in the throat. You're everything but the bone of the neck's gone. Right? There's a hell of a lot of kinetic energy in it. So these soccer bros start kicking around the ball. One of them runs out in the field, and my buddy goes, "Hey, man, we'll be done in like probably about 15 minutes, but you guys gotta wait, man. You can get hurt." And this one fuck will go, "We got a game," and he kicks the ball and runs out on the field. Right? I'm like, "Fuck it, whatever happens, happens. Hope the university has good insurance." But no, just no concept of that. But no, so the neat thing about the control on pulse jets is there were a few attempts to fly those as RC. Now, keep in mind, no throttle, the RC systems at the time, the airframes at the time. So a couple people did get ones up in the air that were, nowadays, I mean, hell, I got jets on the other side of this wall do, well over 200 mile an hour, and it's not really that big of a deal. But then that was quite the big deal. So, all right.
Yeah.
And that's the history of control line and radio commute control.
Yeah. And that is just about me for the month.
Oh, and before I guess started on it, Timothy Doom here says, anyone know of a place where I can buy lawn dart fins? I have the metal parts. You know what? I wonder. I'm going to check real quick. Michael, indulge me for a moment. I'm going to check and see if anybody has lawn dart.
While you look for that, I'll just briefly say something else I've been up to that I forgot. So I joined a board game site online. So you're playing board games, but you're playing them online in your browser, called Board Game Arena. So if anyone out there is interested and you find it hard to get a group together, jump on there. There's hundreds and hundreds of board games to play. Some old, some new. New ones coming all the time. I've been playing a lot of Jaipur, which is a 2-player card game with tokens. Really good. I have got the actual game here as well, but I've been playing it online. A game called Nile as well, which is like another resource building game. When the Nile floods, you've got to have the right resources, etc. And a tile matching game or tile sort of pattern building game called Azul as well. Been playing a lot of those three and dipping in and out of some other games as well. Imhotep is a good one where you're building Egyptian monuments and what have you. So if you are a fan of board games and find it difficult to get a group together, jump on Board Game Arena and you will find me there. And now Scott, as part of his online research, has completely disappeared. Maybe this is a prank and he's not coming back. I don't know.
That would be delightful. But no. So I got a good answer for our fellow here. So we've gone from control line to tether cars to lawn darts.
Yeah, welcome to Retro Gaming Roundup.
It's retro. So there are two different types of lawn darts. There is my favorite, the Regent brand sliders. Now they're called sliders because the fin travels on the shaft, and the fin weighs very little. So I don't think it actually says anywhere in directions why they're there. I mean, you could argue maybe center of gravity change, guidance change. It's not like when it hits that this little plastic thing's going to hammer it to the ground. Nobody, I don't think, really knows for sure. Anyway, that's the slider style, okay? Then there is, usually DP, Sears, and others had the fixed style. So they had they're basically a plastic shaft screwed into a metal head. So so to answer, let me get it right here. Timothy Doom's question. Yeah, Neil's damn right. They're retro and their games. I see no problem. So Timothy here asks about it. So I just took a quick look, on Printables and Thingiverse, and both sites list the fixed fin and the slider style. So yeah, man. I'm just looking at them real quick. The one on Printables looks pretty darn authentic to me. I've never really had to print one because I've got just have an enormous stash of OEM ones, but I certainly see that being a thing one day, and it's a question that will probably get asked sooner or later. So yeah, Timothy, just go on printables of Thingiverse, and you should have no problem finding. All I did is I just searched lawn darts, and I was able to find them in no time. So
Are
I
they
think just a
illegal
funny.
everywhere or not?
Yeah, so in the U.S. they are illegal for illegal. I hold on, let me check. It's right here. Yeah, here we go. Let's see. Constitution of the United States of America. Let me see.
You know that First Amendment's really problematic.
Four. Nope, not one fucking word about a gentleman's lawn game. So fuck them. Didn't ask. So the government's unsolicited opinion can fuck right off. Although it's funny, years ago I went up to this. There's a lawn darts tournament, and this dude named Steve, who worked for UPS, held it in Philadelphia. And this is like pre-social media, internet, and all that. And he actually had the it was the lawn darts tournament held at a secret location in Steve's backyard. And it was the coolest thing ever. Just imagine the pack of weirdos that came out to play lawn darts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fit right in. It was glorious. But no, I tell you a brief lawn dart story. We were out in this place in the desert where it was really hot, like 118 degrees in the shade, just fucking horrible. And, we were exceptionally bored. Most of the time in the military is sheer boredom, not sheer terror or excitement. And so I go over to the welding shop and I grab some half-inch rod and some metal plate. Basically, I cut out fins and made a set of lawn darts about that long that weighed a lot each, right? It was about as much as you could really hurl up into the air by yourself, right? And so we went out and we just marked on the tarmac, and the the blacktop gets very soft when it's at that temperature. So if we gave it a good arc, they would come down just clang about 2 inches right into the blacktop there. So we were playing lawn darts with these huge steel shank darts. What I made them out of was if you look on track vehicles, you've got your tracks that go together and pivot. Mm-hmm. There's a steel pin that goes to the middle of it called a track pin. And so we had all these bent, fucked up track pins from the Bradleys and the 1013s. So I would just grab the track pins and use those to make lawn darts. That's great fun.
Military grade lawn darts. Yeah. I used to work with a guy. I used to work with a few ex-military guys when I was driving. A lot of them came out of the army with HGV licenses, and there's this guy. We're just all sat around in a room waiting for a job to come up, and we're just talking. And one guy says, "So I've just seen an advert for the army." He says, "Join the army and see the world." And this one guy says, "I didn't really see it, but I fucking ran around it a few times."
Yep. 3 laps around the state. All
right. Final thing for me then, I watched a movie called Argyle. It's a new movie. It's one of those where the trailer showed the best bits of it, and it was absolutely awful. Do not waste your time.
Hadn't planned on it.
No.
Yeah, dude, they've gotten so good now at literally making trailers that are the movie or maybe better than the movie. I remember the first one I saw like that was Aliens versus Predator. They made it look like what we have been waiting for, and then it turns out to be like not another teen movie. So, yes, things I've been up to this month. Honestly, just a whole heck of a lot of working on arcade machines. Just when the maintenance comes due, it comes due. And when things break, they break. I got just cap kits here, more cap kits. Today alone, I rebuilt the Electro Home Geo 3 monitor and Dragon's Lair. I repaired the monitor in Space Invaders. A couple others. Just like the whole, the when it rains it pours. But I'm getting caught up, and I literally now only have 2 machines that are out of full function, and I'll get those up to snuff and have them in the lineup, and everything will be fine. So, yeah, other than that, I've been reading up on Exodus and watched a couple demos on that. Mike, have you looked at that?
No, I remember the news article. I've not looked at it, though.
Well, it looks really, really good. And they said, basically all the tutorials I watched, basically it's like DOSBox all squared away, kind of like RetroPie, except DOSBox.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that is just great. Let's try it out. So, I download the core package, all the media files. It's big. I mean, it's like 150 gig or something, it's no small amount. So I get everything, ready to go. And I look at all the documentation, and it keeps saying, "Oh, run this batch," and it creates this. I'm like, well, but it says it works on Linux too, and this is all 100% Windows. So I finally found, the Linux patch, which basically takes all the resource files and installs the Linux front end and Linux everything. Coming soon. So it's not ready for Linux yet. Which, you know what? I mean, not. I was just after looking at how good it looked, I was a little crushed to find out it wasn't ready. So, you know what? No problem. I got the stuff sitting on the ground here. As soon as it's ready to go, I'm all in. So, getting ready to give that a try. Printing a lot of stuff, just you name it, man. I got 1,000,001 projects and just trying to find time for some of them. So, Michael, we should do some news.
We should do some news. Well, there's a few people in chat. We could have a prize alarm and give some shit away during the broadcast. If you go to retrogamingroundup.com/prizes, you will see probably an outdated page. So if you pick something that isn't there anymore, or that we can't find anymore, or that we sold at a Lucky Dip 3 years ago, maybe you can get a James and Watch mug. I'm sure Random wouldn't mind. And if he does mind, then we'll buy them off him. That's fine. But retrogamingroundup.com/prizes. And the prize alarm will be this.
It's just unbelievable. We are all so excited and so thankful for everybody. And like I say, thank you for everybody that has participated in this, because it couldn't have been done without everybody.
So that was longer than I remembered. But anyway, if you hear that during the show,
like everybody had a hand in it.
You can type in the phrase that pays, which I will type in now. And you can copy and paste it, or you can memorize it. You have to type it exactly as it appears there. Thank you, everybody. So when you hear that clip during the news, type in the phrase that pays and you'll win a prize. It's that easy. So get on to some news then, until we're interrupted by Sparkle. He's our new great interrupter.
A little bit.
One here. So just want to say we created something of a monster this month. We've got over 110, I think it's 111 now, maybe something like that. News items. Lord Neil Barmer smashed it. Gareth Hamer smashed it. David Gyrick, I think, has smashed it as well. Random sent some in. I think I might have only sent a couple, because I just saw this stream coming in. Like every time I opened the email account to see what was in there, there was just a ton of them. So I thought, well, I don't need to send any. So thank you to everyone who sent some. We probably won't get through them all tonight. We will roll some over for next month. Some are duplicates, so there won't be 111 or whatever it is to read out to you, but a bumper month for news, so thank you everyone who sent something in. And the first one, sent in by Random Dave and Lord Neil Barmer, possibly a couple of others further down, although I can't just see any having a quick scroll, and that is Nintendo shutting down the makers of the Switch emulator called Yuzu. And these people, I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's a great emulator.
What do you mean by these people?
Pardon?
I said, what do you mean by these people?
The
Nintendo,
people
the
who
creator?
made the emulator, not Nintendo. I don't know how smart they were, the way they ran it, because like they had a Patreon, you could donate to them, so they're making money, and they made apparently a lot of money from it. So Nintendo were bound to go after them, especially because it's a current system as well. You make a Switch emulator, and they also did the 3DS emulator as well, Citra. So you're going after current systems where you can still buy games. They've still got online stores. So Nintendo are going to come for you, and they did.
I have no problem with emulators of current systems, but there's some basic rules. You can't use the BIOS. You can't use, the OS component. You can't use the copyrighted software. Now, you could, well, we get in all kinds of gray areas, but you could take the copyrighted software and, let's say you've got like an Intellivision emulator. You can use the Intellivision BIOS from your Intellivision as well as the game ROMs, and then everything's fine. But if they were distributing Nintendo's BIOS or other features, of the copyright software, and they were dumb enough to make money off of it, yeah, I mean, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah. What I think's going to happen is Scott's going to go off camera again.
Well, I had to. It was an emergency.
Okay.
I think I'm good now. I'm likely to be back on camera.
So
I had a catastrophe.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. This little guy.
Camera shy.
I don't know. He's not shy about much of anything, that's for sure. But yeah, he is. I mean, he's only 4 months. He's the size of a regular cat. He's going to be a big boy, man.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. He was in the middle of bringing down substantial weight on a shelf, so I had to go retrieve him. This dude, my job is going to be to keep him alive till he's a year old, despite his best intentions. Oh my God.
Yeah. Another one from Lord Neil Balmer, Super Mario Brothers CD. Here is a video of a ROM hack based on the idea of an NES CD console that never existed. It's mildly interesting, a mildly interesting idea, but to me it just looks like they've taken Super Mario World and redrawn the sprites badly. And tonight I will try and remember to paste the news in chat as we go. So there's that one. You can click on them and look at them just after, probably about 40 seconds after we've discussed them. All the links, of course, will be in the show notes, and I will try, as I said, and remember to post them in chat as well.
All right. Well, thought it was going to load it. Okay, let's go for the next one. Sorry, Mike, I clicked on one, it came up and just hovered.
Damn.
Oh, well, Mike.
I can do one in the meantime if you want. Oh.
No, it was just taking its sweet-ass time. All right, so Husqvarna lawnmower plays Doom. So, I mean, we all know Husqvarna. They make dirt bikes and mowers and everything else, chainsaws, I don't know if they make dirt bikes anymore. They used to make, like, the world's best. So this might be actually a thing and not just April Fools. Watch the video. Looks like automatic robotic lawnmower plays Doom as an advertised feature. But wow, it's loud. Let's see.
Yeah, what was interesting about this one was it was an advertised feature. Someone's not just thrown it together. It's officially supported.
You know what? Wouldn't it be nice is if they had this firmware up and running, and they're like, yeah, we're running Linux. Of course, we can run anything Linux. And they have, like, the Linux port of Doom running. And somebody goes, get the license and put that in there. That's cool. All right. Good on somebody, because I think that probably made it up the chain before like HR or somebody got involved and said,
Yeah.
"Now, boys, we can't have any fun."
Makes Husqvarna way cooler than what's the tractor company? John Deere, is it, that won't let you work on your tractor?
Oh, they're just a bunch of yeah, they're not good.
No.
But stuff like let's say you install an implement and it says, "Oh yeah, it can't calibrate this sensor." Well, if it can't calibrate because it doesn't have a routine and you have to take it to the dealership. Okay, well, great. I need to harvest this afternoon because the moisture percentage in my wheat's right. Well, sorry, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't understand how any farmer would buy that brand. In some cases, they're kind of locked into it for, fleet reasons. But it seems to me that would be almost a death sentence if there's a competitor out there. But I don't know. Hopefully they get told to go fuck themselves. Okay, hidden game in generic arcade cabs from Japan. Apparently, back in the day, when generic cabs were being made to put your own game in, a law was passed in Japan that said if any electronic product wasn't usable directly as sold, it was illegal to sell it. That makes sense. So they put a crappy version of a game in them that operators would swap out for the real game. Here's a video about that. Well, interesting. I wonder if they're talking about like the candy cabs or let's see here. Oh, Nostalgia Nerd did it. Nostalgia Nerd does some good stuff, man. I've actually gotten a little bored with a lot of the creators now. Nostalgia Nerd and LGR seem to do consistently some pretty good videos. So, yeah, they just show some boards running some crap stuff. I thought it would have been newer. I thought it would have been more like they get into some of the candy cabs later on, maybe about 2/3 of the way of the video. But yeah, it's a good 16-minute video, lots of video clip, like archival footage, lots of videos to like what do you call them? Presentations of what he's talking about. Looks like a typical Nostalgia Nerd video. Good quality from that guy.
Unfortunately, we said Husqvarna 3 times and summoned a random Swede. Per Holmstrom has joined us in chat.
That's brilliant.
So, Emulation Station briefly appeared on the Amazon App Store. It's always because I can emulate quite a bit of stuff on my phone, but there's no like decent front end that I've found, and I've tried a few. So you're launching an individual emulator, setting up individual controls, and it's just a bit of a faff. So Emulation Station appeared, and then they removed it from the store. I think there is a way to sideload it, but they just made it a little bit harder for you.
You watched what was that? Robin Hood with was it Kevin Costner or whatever?
Yeah, Men in Tights.
Remember?
Prince of Thieves.
No, not the. All right, Men in Tights was the better movie. But remember the bit where he's in the tower and the fucking young guy's like blah 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 blah, and the king turns around. Who is this that speaks to me as if I asked for his counsel? And then he like gets them talking about shit. He hurls them out the fucking window. Dude, this is how I feel about like store managers and the curators and the legal departments. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna remove retro arts from the store. And I just immediately like, who is this person that speaks to me as if I ask their opinion on what I should,
Yeah. So we got a few people popping up in chat. There were some there waiting for us before we started because I did a pre-thing on YouTube, upcoming show, whatever. So Retro Hamer's just joined us, no doubt just to hear his own news items read out. Speaking of which, here's one of them. 3 new 2600 games have been found and dumped online. They are, and I had a look at this. There is a link in here back to Atari Age, and I did grab the games. Catrax, Funky Fish, and Pleiades were previously made available to buy And so, like, there's 6 total, but there were 3 new ones that someone had found and dumped. They were R2D Tank, Hobo, and Spiders. So I did grab them and just haven't had a chance to play them yet. But yes, you can go to a thread on Atari Age and grab them all. But it's good to see that, you know, someone found them and then just dumped them. So nice. Didn't just hold on to them for
Makes
themselves.
sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I had a little something like that come up where there's a piece, very difficult piece, funny enough for RC vehicles for a certain one. And there were some people like selling them on the web, like, you know, like they would print them for you, whatever. And the problem is they wouldn't print it. Like they only printed it out of the least suitable material. And, you know, and then they wanted like $100, $110 for the print. And, you know, I begrudge nobody because I know how long those prints take. I mean, you can take, you know, hours to print, you know, something like potential 24 hours. So if somebody wants, you know, $80 for that, I don't mind that. I'd be happy to pay it if I didn't need it. But anyway, I got, I emailed this one guy that was listing them. And I said, hey, look, you know, I want this. I just really don't want it in this material. Can you use this? Because that was the one way I sell it. So, okay, I'll design my own. So I did. But instead of like printing it and like trying to sell it or sell it, I said, you know what? Somebody else might be helped by this. And I just went ahead and put it, you know, up on Thingiverse and released it to everybody. And then the guy actually messaged me and goes, people get yours for free. They don't have a hard time selling these. I'm like, that's for you.
You asshole.
Hey, would you print this in clear? No. Okay, I'll make it myself and share other people. All he did is design it himself. Like no one else can figure this shit out, please.
Yeah.
All right, so got one here from Gareth Amer. Atari bringing back older consoles. I assume miniatures. Who knows? So, has here Atari has a rich history to draw from and has been doing that via projects like Atari 50th Celebration. I will say nothing bad about the 50th Celebration. That was just a well-done production. The Atari 400 Mini, a curious choice. So, yeah, it looks as if the CEO chimed in and said, we've been really happy with the reception from fans we have been really happy with the reception from fans and just the reception from the market. Okay, it doesn't make sense as written. So there will be certainly more projects in that vein. Okay, well, good. So what are you going to make, right? I love it here. It says, Rosen wouldn't give specifics, but we could potentially see the Atari Jaguar. I know where the molds are. And maybe the handheld Lynx would make a comeback. So we'll see. I don't know, man. I mean, the 2600 has been resurrected so many times. Other than just a hardware authentic one, I don't really care. I mean, I've seen so many new 2600s, handhelds, the flashback series. Now you make an original one that, you know, even if it's just like strictly a FPGA or, you know, ASIC or something like that running Atari ROMs, oh yeah, I'd still buy it. I don't expect them to use like, you know, maybe like the Ellsworth approach, 6507 on a chip, you know, but we'll see. We'll see.
One here from Random Dave, I think it was. Just skipped over it. No, it was Neil Balmer, actually. A retro arcade game lounge coming to Plymouth City Centre. Maybe it'll be flat screens, maybe it won't. We don't know. But there's an artist mock-up there, and it says, how the first floor of Continue Arcade's Plymouth Gaming Lounge could look. Yeah, it could look like that. It may not do, and probably won't, but at least Plymouth is getting... Does Plymouth still have arcades? I mean, I've been down that part of the country a couple of years ago, but didn't really go looking for arcades or anything, but didn't go into the centre of Plymouth either. But it does does have seaside parts. So, I don't know. I would have thought it already had some.
Well, interesting here. From Lord Neil Ballmer. If you have a PSP Go and you don't want to buy a bunch of Sony memory crap sticks, then somebody has come out with a little adapter. It basically goes to SD card from the, I guess, the memory stick. And anyway, if you got a PSP Go, you can plug this little booger in, and you have got a whole lot of stories. Up to 128 gigabyte SD cards may be used.
Yeah, so I wasn't that familiar with the Go because this, I don't know, does it have a memory card slot anyway? Because I used to have a PSP.
It's the one without the drive, right?
I used to have a PSP.
Was it in between the Vita?
No, the Go is, it's the PSP. It's the same sort of hardware and specs, but it's like a slide up thing. So you slide the screen up and you've got your controls underneath. But
I never kept up with those. I have a Vita, and I literally have never used it.
No, but
I had doesn't work.
A memory stick adapter for the PSP years ago it took two micro SDs, sort of one from each side, and you could I think it took 216 gigs. You could make it 32. I can't remember. In chat, Neil says no UMD in the PSP Go. Of course it didn't, but it has a memory stick slot, so this is a mod for that. Okay, that explains it.
I know what you're up to. He's made this little spot behind the monitors, and he likes to go back there, and he doesn't care what he steps on or what he wrecks to get there. He's going. All right. This dude, I'm telling you. All right, so got another one here from Gareth Hamer. And some madman has decided that they want to make Mario 64 last longer than it already did. Why? I don't know. So now it will just, I guess, procedurally generate random levels, and you can just keep playing Mario forever. So there's nothing more I can think of than, I don't know, maybe you could get Mario Hotel or something like that from the Philips CDI to run for more.
Yeah. Neil Barmer again sends in a simple word game online. It might sound like a spam email. It's feeling that way, I'll be honest. And it sort of is. A friend of mine has made a very simple word game and put it online here. It's play5words.com. I did have a click on this, didn't like it, so didn't stick around. But I remember Lord Neil Barmer made, and I've mentioned this before, made an app for the DS, for a modded DS, and it would check all your buttons, your microphone, your screen calibration, all that kind of stuff. Have you ever thought of doing an updated one for the 3DS? So you could check out, your analogs and things like that. And the extra shoulder buttons as well. So that's a little project for you, Lord Neil Barmer. This was a good one, again from Lord Neil Barmer, and it's a tool to rewrite bootleg GBA carts. Now, I bought a game off eBay, a GBA cart. I can't remember what game it was now, but it wasn't an official one. I didn't know till I got it. I didn't pay a lot for it, so I wasn't too concerned. But he says some of these games where, they make these bootleg GBA games, they use rewritable memory in them. So if you get this tool to rewrite them, you can, buy a bootleg cart and use it a bit like a flash cart. And GBA flash carts aren't generally that easy to get hold of and can be quite expensive depending on which one you get. So, yeah, I thought that was an interesting one. And I did have a look through my GBA carts, and I can't find the bootleg one I had. I must have thrown it away. If I remember correctly, it used to crash about 3/4 of the way through the game, so I think I probably just threw it away. But I didn't have any more bootlegs to try.
I've got one, and it was one that I bought multi-cart. I think it held maybe 6 games at a time. And you had to use the ROM linker and all that. and I have, I think, half of the stuff needed to rewrite it, but I'm never going to use it. I mean, there's 100 other ways to get that done these days, so I don't really worry about it.
Yeah.
Got one here from Lord Neil Ballmer. Here is a nice video from GameSack reviewing some retro 3D games that were converted to 2D, usually for porting to handhelds. Quite an interesting video that makes you want to try some of these games. I wonder if there are enough of these games to do a top 10, but I don't know. But basically, it's 3D franchises that made 2D versions for like portables and stuff. So, one of the, I guess, the prime ones they mentioned were Tony Hawk, that was 3D, and then they made a 2D version of it for portable. So,
just having a look through chat. Something Neil Ballmer said a little second ago. Who was it? He looked up the I looked up the meaning of my name once. To sit on your knees and make ointments, apparently.
I guess you could.
Another Neil Ballmer one there, which is, again, the Doom on the lawnmower. Don't say the name, because Per Holmstrom will stick around. So this one, again from Neil Ballmer, Resident Evil PS1. What? Someone has been making Resident Evil cutscenes in a PS1 style, just for fun, I guess. Doesn't have much polygon wiggle, though, so you can tell it isn't real. Now, I did watch this, so now he's in chat, he can explain the premise. So is it using actual scenes from the game, and are they trying to make a film? Or what's going on here? Are they taking bits of the cutscenes and just editing them? I didn't quite get what was going on. I'll wait patiently while you type it in and explain it. But not that patiently, so be quick.
It's just unbelievable. We are all so excited and so thankful for everybody. And like I say, thank you for everybody that has participated in this, because it couldn't have been done without everybody.
So someone in there has asked me to post, and I've been trying to keep up, but I've got a lot of shit going on here. I'm trying to keep up posting all the links, and I missed a couple. And Mike Garcia, I think it was, asked for the GBA linker one, so I've just posted that there. Neil Ballmer says, I think it's just scenes from the game and remodeling them in low poly. Okay. That explains it, but it doesn't explain why they're doing it, or why they have so much time. And Neil Ballmer typed in the phrase that pays, thank you, everybody. If I remember correctly, you received a James and Watch mug last month, so check out the prizes.
Maybe the other leg of his, table is dipping, so he needs a second mug.
Yeah. Or maybe he's got visitors coming around for Easter weekend. Maybe he needs a full set. I don't know. Pick a prize.
Would you like a cup of coffee? You can have it as soon as I finish drinking mine. I'll watch that and pour you one. Now he doesn't have to play that move anymore.
So pick a prize, retrogamingroundup.com/prizes, and email me, I guess, while Random isn't here. Otherwise, he'll get a lot of unexplained emails. Okay.
Well, that's not the worst thing.
No.
So got one here from Lord Neil Ballmer. And he says, do you have a bunch of old CD-ROM games installed that require some sort of disk checking? There are. Funny enough, I was just trying to think of what that was the other day, that required you to at least insert the disc so it could check that you owned it. Anyway, he has a new one called a new tool. This guy, Luca. Disk EMU is a tool designed to emulate disk checks. Okay, so I guess it reaches for the disc and it says, yeah, it's all good. So, clever idea.
Yeah. I can't remember what I've got that does it, but I have got a couple of PC big box games that do like to have the disc in. One of them might be Manx TT, which I'm not sure why I've ended up with that on PC, but anyway.
An odd one.
Yeah, Time Splitters 4 prototype found on PS3 Dev Kit. So this is an article on RetroDodo.com. It's sent in by Gareth Hamer, and it's a playable prototype for the cancelled Time Splitters 4. A Reddit user purchased a PS3 Dev Kit on eBay and found some goodies that someone forgot to delete when they...
I wonder about the other side of that, right? Like, for example, let's say that a dev kit, gets sold on eBay, and like somebody that was, hypothetically, okay, let's say Random Dave was working at Sumo, and a Sumo dev kit hits eBay, right? And it sells for, I don't know, 1,000 quid in, in I don't know, some rando place in the UK. And he looks at it and says, oh, Sumo, oh. And then next thing you know, there's a little article that says, yeah, it was an unreleased game on it that I'm dumping and distributing. And Dave realizes, oh shit, that was my dev kit. I was working on that game. Am I in trouble? Like I would, like what could a company do? Like, grab somebody that, they fired, because they were cutting costs, 8 years ago, and there's a game from 10 years ago that is now out there, because they didn't dispose the hardware right, but, makes you wonder. Or if somebody's like, oh shit, I thought it was gone forever, but can't claim credit for it and say, yeah, it was my game because, safety reasons or legal reasons. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wonder what the other side of that story is like.
Yeah.
So, got one here from Gareth Hamer, and he says, maybe you'll be able to get your GameCube back online soon. Interesting. So, there has been some cool surprise GameCube functionality popping up. One, the just ever amazing SD card to serial port. No hardware, just straight wire to wire, and the thing works. That was kind of nuts. But it says here, if you're a fan of the extremely limited handful of GameCube games with online and LAN functionality, today's your lucky day. Swiss, a homebrew utility that I've used Swiss for GameCube stuff. A homebrew utility that enhances the functionality will have a broadband adapter emulation support in its upcoming releases. So it looks like it's the original one had a 56K modem or 100 megabit. Let's see here. They just show a little 3D rendering of a PCB with a Ethernet jack snapped in. So I'm sure whatever it is will be more than sufficient to handle the speeds out of the GameCube. So that's cool. I hope they do it. I hope that gets out there. That's going to be epic.
Yeah. There was one as well for the NES expansion port. I can't remember if it was this month or last month. I have a feeling it's this month. I'm just trying to scroll down and find it. But basically someone has made some hardware for the NES expansion port, but it doesn't actually do anything yet. They've just sort of built an interface and will do something with it in the future. I can't see the news article there right now, but then there is over 110 to scroll through, so maybe I'm missing it. But yeah, it's good that this this stuff is still being explored and worked on.
Well, here's something else to explore and work on. Playing more Ghostbusters. So, Lord Neo Bomber submits here that there is a new Ghostbusters for Intellivision. It looks a lot like the C64 version, and there's a thread on Atari Age. And wow, that it does look like the C64 version, like the city map, but looks like a credible port. That is pretty cool. And if you have sent in the Nintendo Yuzu story, we've already hit it. It looks like it was the story of the week. So definitely thank you for sending it in. But if we didn't read your name off, it's because we've already hit that story.
Yeah. One here from Gareth Hamer. Hardware hackers managed to run GTA Vice City on a wireless router. If a PowerPC-based router can run Linux, it will definitely run video games too. So I believe they got this thing set up and running it sort of as a service. You could connect to it and play if I remember correctly. I did read it at the time, but that was a while ago. The gameplay experience isn't perfect, as you can well imagine, and the world is empty, apparently. But the excellent soundtrack of the GTA series is still there. And this, again, goes down to, not sure why they did it, but they did it.
Well, speaking of doing things, Mike, remember you mentioned the Citra emulator?
I do remember that.
You may have said this already, but it looks like they've halted development with the Yuzu problem. So
yeah, I think it was the same
once again,
people who did
Nintendo
both.
making friends.
Yeah, I think it's the same people who did both emulators. A large bulk of boxed Mega Drive and SNES found. And I think if these were still sealed, is this the same story? Hundreds of rare sealed Nintendo and Sega games discovered in Nebraska storage facilities. So this was a video game reseller who's found them. And I'm guessing they belong to a store or something like that. It's not like a family's going to have all this stuff. And maybe they just got stored away and forgotten about. The store went out of business and somebody's found them and expect them to be fetching a high price on an auction site near you sometime soon. So they do cover, there's a lot of Aladdins, Contras, Musher on SNES. So some of them are worth a little bit. There was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 on SNES, which is worth over... Now, these are all, prices vary, it's worth what someone will pay for it at the time, but that one's gone for $1,400 in the past. Final Fantasy 3 over $1,200. Sunset Riders worth over $750. So there's some valuable ones in there, and like I said, they are still sealed, so... I bet there's some NHL hockeys in there as well, no doubt, but what a find. Good find.
Got one here from Gareth Hamer. JRPG has a Kickstarter, goals to develop on retro systems, including the Virtual Boy. So, let's see. JRPG Breath of Thunder could come to the Jaguar, Saturn, N64, and Virtual Boy. Okay. So, why not? I'm all for more Virtual Boy stuff. I, unlike most people, don't dislike the Virtual Boy. It was a clever experiment. It was Nintendo doing what they do, making new and interesting hardware and then abandoning it.
So there's one there from Lord Neil Barmer you would be interested in, Scott. Not gaming, but definitely retro. Have a click on that.
Oh, yeah, I already just looked at it here. And that may have, in fact, been recorded on equipment that Ted Dabney and Nolan Bushnell worked on.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about this. Give Link an extra hand in Ocarina of Time with the Ultra Hand mod. So when they introduced the very odd choice of putting in a construction set into Zelda, I'm still not sure how that works, the Zonai device stuff. I don't know if I like it. I mean, I finished the game. If it hadn't been there, I would have missed it. If the whole thing of building devices had been removed from the game, would the game be any different? I don't think so. So, But anyway, somebody built a port of Ocarina in Time that has the Ultra Hand, so you can build things, I guess. So, all right.
Another
PSP.
again from Gareth Hamer, Palworld gets a remake for the Nintendo DS. Palworld was the one that hit the news for being like Pokemon, wasn't it? Nintendo got all upset again because the creatures in there look like Pokemons. Maybe some of them do, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Pokemon, so...
Well, their catchphrase, gotta acquire them all, gave it away.
Yeah. Somebody has made a remake of Palworld for the DS. Some remakes are interesting. This one wouldn't really be of interest to me, but I have played some remakes in the past. It's an interesting concept.
Interesting. Got one here. Let me go back and see who sent it. Oh, Gareth Hamer. And there are new cores and new cartridge adapters coming for the analog graphics. So they're adding a firmware update. So they pop down to the core store, and what do they find on the discount shelf? They've got TurboGrafx 16, PC Engine, Super Graphics, Lynx, NGP, and NGPC. All right. Sleep and wake functionality. Boot to cartridge, skips the game detail screen. Okay. So, yeah, it looks like they're developing more cores and more cartridge things. It says $100 for a set, I guess, of all three. You know what? I think 100 is almost the new 20. So, fair enough. Good to see these guys continuing to make some nice products out there. They've been at this a while, too. And God, what was it? Over 10 years ago that they came out with the analog SNES. They had that at CGE in, 2010?
Oh, I don't remember when that came out. But I know they were bringing consoles out certainly while the Chameleon was dragging on. That was 2015 into 16, so that's at least 8 years. So
yeah,
they
are.
And this, if I can get it on camera, there is a nice long cool draft Guinness in a can. There you go. And while I open this,
not just any beer,
I will do this item by, again, Lord Neil Barmer, retro emulation on retro hardware. Here is a nice short video from Modern Vintage Gamer all about retro emulation on, you didn't guess, did you? It was the N64, of all things. It seems to be powerful enough console to run a fair amount of retro emulators with better than you'd expect in terms of quality. Well, to be honest, my expectations are low. But let's...
I was hoping for a slideshow at best.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some of the games are a stuttering slideshow mess. Other games, and funny enough, one of them what looked like a hot mess was a Game Boy black and white. The one that looked like it was running pretty good was like a Game Boy Color or maybe even a Game Boy Advance. So, go figure. But obviously, emulation, the emulation engine has a huge impact on what it runs more so than just the horsepower of the game. So, yeah, it looks really interesting there.
It does. So what? I mean, is it a powerful system, the N64? When you look at the insides, was it?
Yeah, I mean, okay, it was equivalent to maybe like a PC desktop of 2 or 3 years prior to release. So,
but they've got Shantae running here, Game Boy Color game Shantae. That is pretty tricky to emulate. At the best of times, it has quite a few slowdowns on it. There's none here. Maybe they're just showing the good bits. I don't know. But yeah, interesting. Interesting.
All right.
Just before we move on, it doesn't say,
yes,
unless the video does and it's in the audio, how they got it running on the N64. You know, what did they have to do to the hardware? What cartridge are they using? That kind of stuff.
Well, it looked like a standard, NES multi-card. So I'm I don't know. Remember we were talking about. I remember this package being out. It was like an Atari emulator for the PlayStation. So
Yeah.
I'm
NES package, yeah.
I'm yeah, it would be entirely reasonable somebody had a emulator set for that. So. All right, got one here from Gareth Hamer, Top Racer Crossroads Collection coming to modern systems. So back, oh yeah, that's any SNES. I was thinking Amiga for some reason, but I guess it was SNES. But it wasn't a bad game. It kind of reminded me of a little bit of Outrun mixed with a little bit of Pole Position, maybe, but with maybe Amiga Test Drive vibe to it. It's kind of interesting. So
there's another N64 story there. Gareth Hamer, YouTube video. James gets VR working on the N64. Who's James? It's not me, but it's somebody. James Lambert. He's a YouTuber. And yes, he's got apparently VR working on the N64. Okay, you can watch the video at your leisure. It's about 10 minutes long. I will dip into that later.
Well, something that is also here for you to dip in right away, Michael, is the Fallout trailer. The second one has come out. Now, honestly, I had heard about this, gotten excited for it, gotten reticent about it, forgot about it, lost interest in it, heard about it again, lost interest. I mean, this has been going. I think, remember that set of photos from the set that released like I don't know, like 3 years ago or so?
I don't, but go on.
Oh yeah, so it was like, oh look, we're filming it, we're making it. It's like, all right, 3 years later, I haven't seen it. So anyway, apparently, they have actually got it kind of ready to go here, and I think it drops mid-April. So we'll see. Again, can they just make a show about Fallout that is just about Fallout and fits the show, fits the theme of the games? It doesn't have to be just the video game acted out in life. That's dumb and boring. Go crazy with the world, do something good. But as Afterglow says here, I just hope Fallout is more like Twisted Metal and less like Halo. Yeah, Twisted Metal, kind of a pleasant surprise. Wasn't terrible. And we'll see here. Hope they actually don't screw it up.
So this Fallout trailer, I've never played a Fallout game. I know I've heard you talk about them in particular, but I've heard other people talk about them. And I remember this coming up before, that they're making a show. And I could, don't know anything about it really. But I watched this trailer, and I've watched it a couple of times since. It is a pretty kick-ass trailer, and it looks like a decent show. Now, how much it ties into the game, and a fan of the game, will they like it? Will they be disappointed? I don't know. I don't have that perspective on it, but it looks like a kick-ass trailer.
Well, I tell you what, might be kick-ass, Michael. Might not be. They are, remember, like your love of controllers for odd Nintendo systems like the N64 and the GameCube?
Yeah. Okay. I'll say yes.
What, dude? You bought one off a Kickstarter.
I did.
Remember, I hold it over there for you.
That was the
you love a
the
good
brawler
controller
for the N64. Yeah.
See, you love a good controller for mid NES systems. So, NYXI has come out with the Warrior Bluetooth controller. So it has a receiver that plugs into the cartridge port, and then you've got a nice looking Game Boy handheld controller that is now wireless, and it has tech specs and key features and everything. But I guess this is pretty universally easy to implement now with the little microcontrollers that have Bluetooth. So considering what it costs to get the molds made and get a production run of these and make a couple of bucks each, and it's basically $70, $68.99. Yeah, that's what it's going to cost these days to get that done. So I think if you're a Nintendo fan, if this thing doesn't have any foibles and it works, probably your thing.
Yeah, one here from David Gyrick, and I don't know how much or if the story has developed since he sent it. He sent it on the 7th. We're recording on the 25th, and that is a Sony glitch that has removed games from people's Sony libraries. So they bought digital games, and they've been wiped out from their accounts, and it's affecting PS4, PS5, and Vita. And at the time, and in this article, still it says Sony doesn't have a fix, but then it says it's 50 people affected. So I'm guessing that's being generous. I'm guessing there's a lot more people, but I don't know if there's a fix. Maybe someone in chat can tell us. But yeah, just oh, sorry, we didn't mean to do that. We'll give them back honest. And Neil Barmer says,
Yep.
Is it a real glitch, or are they just deleting your purchases again? You mean
Yeah,
your
probably that
previously
one.
purchased content? Yeah.
Got one here from Random Dave Lanky of Badger, the random one. Says here, Crossed Wires podcast festival to be held in Sheffield. He's awaiting his invite. Well, since he's moved, they probably don't have his correct address.
Yeah.
But if they leave it his old place, I'm sure they'll roll down the hill and find him. Please, I hope Random has moved downhill, not uphill. I have to bring a Sherpa next time I go to his house and a mouth guard. So the festival is the brainchild of the co-creator of the hit comedy podcast My Dad Wrote a Porno, okay, yes, hopefully he gets his invite.
Yeah. It's not just Nintendo going after people. Sega has killed the fan-made Golden Axe sequel. They've issued a DMCA takedown for the excellent Golden Axe Returns. You played it, Scott? Have you seen it? Did you know about it?
I heard about it. I didn't get a chance to do it yet. I'm sure it's still available.
Well, it's on the internet somewhere. No doubt.
That's the point.
But Sega closed it.
See, Sega, you know what would help me really like Sega and spend money with Sega? Yeah, if they had a product I could buy.
Yeah, if they made some shit.
Got one here from Lord Neil Ballmer. DS download station teardown. I don't remember if this was on the news a few months ago when the video was made, but here is a teardown of an official Nintendo DS download station. Can you guess what's inside? A Wi-Fi access point? I don't know. Let's find out. So this dude here, he's got a DS download station. He's going to open it up eventually.
It's going to be a DS inside it.
Probably.
It's, what's his face? I have watched some of his videos before. What's he called?
Yeah.
Elliot
Okay.
Paul.
So that is the big surprise. You take the plastic cover off, and there's a 3DS laying on its back. So, shocker. Fooled everybody there with that clever bezel.
Yeah. Afterglow in chat says he remembers years ago when Sega killed the Streets of Rage remake, although it did actually come out, and it was one of the best fan games he ever played. Afterglow, in case you don't know, is Chris Lethco. Afterglow is the name of his podcast, which you should check out. You don't need to tell him we sent you because he's here. He knows.
He's already heard. It would just be nice if I get, the rights protection. In fact, I was just chatting with my lawyer friend today, and, we were discussing some of these matters. So we're going to have online, like one of the questions that I want to run by the lawyer here is, why can't companies just be cool? Just go, you know what? that's a good fan effort. We love it. And, and actually have people like them and still protect their IP. I don't know. We're going to ask.
Yeah.
So, got one here from Glenn Monet, Combi. And it says, guys, hope all's well for you. It is, you Bobby Dazzler. And it says here, new pin released today, March 9, from American Pinball. Barry O's Barbecue Challenge. It's the last pinball to be designed by Barry Ausler after a 46-year career in game design. Yeah, Barry Ausler. I mean, yeah, Ausler. I didn't know how to pronounce it. If you've not heard his interview with Topcast, go listen. This guy is just a mastermind. But yeah, so they have Barry's Barbecue Challenge, and I'm curious how they're going to make a game out of this, but I would not be able to walk away from it if I saw one in real life. I could go for some ribs right about now.
Oh, what's this one? I don't know, but it doesn't need explaining, so I'm not going to explain it. Well, I will a little bit. Lord Neil Barmer says, I don't think this needs explaining. He says it's not really news, but slightly entertaining, and that's all the cue you get, and then he gives you a link. It's a bit like a spam email, but I'm going to click on it anyway. And it is, it's Africa by Toto, played on instruments in the game Majora's Mask. So that's what that is. So it did need a bit of explaining, but thank you, Lord Neil Barmer, for your 77th news submission. Afterglow says he agrees with you on the ribs.
Fortunately, I've got a pretty good rib place around the corner from me. Looks like holy hell, but they make some good ribs. Wanted to hear from Lord Neil Balmer. Hi, guys. I stumbled on a nice couple of videos by the RMC Retro Man Cave on the Persian restoration of an old Sega Megatech arcade machine. Yeah, I mean, basically, and the guy, he shows a pretty detailed video of cleaning up and restoring, all the major components of the game. So if you might, want to see what it takes, because this stuff applies to any game out there, there's no real difference. So in-depth video showing all the details.
So, another one from Lord Neil Barmer. Piracy is good. Here is an easy-to-follow explanation about what piracy is and isn't. It's an entertaining half hour. And it is. I did watch the video, and it is about half an hour, so you can watch it at your leisure. But, it was interesting, and it has a disclaimer, obviously. I'm not a lawyer. Don't take this as legal advice, but he does cover some interesting parts and points around piracy.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to have Dave the lawyer on. He literally writes this shit for a living. Yet, I mean, they always say the devil that you meet is seldom the devil you really make them out to be, or whatever. And I mean, Dave's a great guy, man, and he is one of the guys that writes the EULAs according to the specifications of the customer, what the customer wants. And in fact, he and I were having a great discussion yesterday about how a lot of investment banks want to see baked into the thing from the beginning, recurring income. Like, how are you going to monetize this thing going forward? You're not just going to make something and sell it. How are you going to squeeze more money out of it every fucking month, right? And it becomes almost like the creator is obligated to annoy the customers, what it sounds like. So going to be interesting to have Dave the lawyer on and talk about that with him.
It's just unbelievable. We are all so excited and so thankful for everybody. And like I say, thank you for everybody that has participated in this, because it couldn't have been done without everybody.
Lord Neil Barmer, again, Clay Mario. Look at this guy making a realistic-ish Clay Mario. It's quite good. Have a look at his channel. He makes loads of stuff, but not too much is retro game related. It is a YouTube video. I didn't watch it the whole way through, but I kind of skipped through, saw the various stages along the way, and saw the end results. Lord Neil Barmer, who's taking no prisoners today. He's there on the prize alarm again, so he's bitching and moaning because he claims to have won a prize that we didn't send him. He's won another tonight, and now he's in for his second one. He's going to get 3 prizes tonight. Come on, people. Don't let Neil Barmer take all the prizes. Pick a prize, Lord Neil Barmer. And James Eastham has joined us in chat, and he says, what happened to the Doctor Lawyer Rocket Scientist podcast? Do you mean it is big? No, what was it called? It is big and it is clever.
No, Big and Clever.
It is
Big
big
and Clever was the name of it.
And I bought the URL for it, which was I don't like typing in long URLs.
Which was beautiful.
But I'm saying, not me, not we, because I wasn't in it, but they never made an episode, so the website died.
Well, I mean, so originally,
as did one of the planned hosts.
Yeah, so one of the hosts was Neil, and then with his passing, we just never, put it together. So, but it was a clever idea, I think. So,
I think it was a great
Andrew
idea.
Hannay,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Andrew Hannay would like to know, what is the phrase that pays?
It's what Neil Barmer last typed. Thank you, everybody.
That is the phrase that pays. And the prize alarm. Michael, you want to fill him in on the prize alarm in case he didn't hear that?
I can throw out the prize alarm. This isn't the prize alarm. Well, it is the prize alarm, but it's not a prize. It's showing...
Yeah, this is a test.
It's just unbelievable. We are all so excited and so thankful for everybody. And like I say, thank you for everybody that has participated in this, because it couldn't have been done without everybody.
So, Andrew Hannay, as Scott says, has joined us in chat. And the clip at the start of the last episode was aimed at Mr. Hannay, or rather his good lady, because I think the day before Revival, he gets back from a cruise with his dad and his brother and still wanted to go to Revival, so I made a heartfelt message to Mrs. Hannay in order to secure his arrival at Revival. Did it work, Andrew? How's the political situation looking at the moment?
So his ex-wife isn't too happy with you, Mike.
Yeah. Funny you should mention that. I just got filed for divorce.
Gee, thanks, Mike. You delicate bastard.
Anybody else want any marital help? Let me know. She'd rather have new clothes, so I'm guessing that's the trade-off. I'll see you at Revival then.
Got one here from Dave Lanky, the random one. Rare SNES game Dottie Flowers now available for download for free. So yeah, I remember when this kind of came out. I guess the guy was gonna just keep it physical only and not share it, and I guess he decided, nah, I'll dump it, which was mighty nice of him. So, let's see here. There's another one that was on the same vine, but I can't find it. All right, so the next one I was going to hit, though, by Gareth Hamer, and it's, damn it, load or don't load. There we go. So, Bethesda has released a die-cast Fallout Pip-Boy. So this is interesting. If you remember the kit Pip-Boy that came out, about 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I bought one of those, and it is good. I mean, just looks absolutely beautiful. This one, I guess it has a screen in it that works, and it has like, a clock function, all that. If you ever do print your own or buy the kit that came out, they do in fact have the app for Fallout that you can put onto any piece of crap phone that you don't care about anymore. Fits the form factor perfectly, self-contained, USB-C charger, everything. So it's very easy to build a working Pip-Boy. But yeah, this thing looks nice. It's a much earlier version, a much simpler Pip-Boy. But let's see the other one. Okay, so it says they're limited. There's going to be one per customer, and it is, get this, only $199, so $200. Now, when they came out with the kit one, I said, God, what are they going to want for this? 5, 6, and I think it ended up being just barely over $100. So if this one is done along with the same, quality and attention to detail as the kit one, I understand different vendors, all that, but man, that's a good price point. I think they'll sell more than a few of those. So since they could sell every one of these they make, because the price point's right, what are you going to do? Supply, limit it, and not sell a lot of them. Is it is the entrepreneurial spirit strong, Mike, or what?
Yeah, that's what I'm picking up. Neil Barmer claimed the what was it? Turrican CD, the soundtrack. So if you're on the prizes page, retrogamingroundup.com/prizes, refresh it because I've removed the claimed prizes. Don't forget to email me your address. Mario Kart is racing onto a Lego set soon, apparently, from Gareth Hamer. An article on Retro Dodo. I'm surprised there wasn't one already, to be honest. There was a Super Mario World Lego, I think, wasn't there? I think.
I don't know. I've not really ever had any Lego since I was a kid, so I really paid much attention to it. Some of their stuff looks interesting. I even stopped by. There was one of those Lego conventions that was in between my home and work, so I stopped in and took a look one day for a couple hours. I mean, it's not really my thing, but I certainly, admire what they're doing with it.
There was a guy who was it now? He was the husband, I think, of a friend of Paula's, and during lockdown, he wasn't working. Well, he was working, but from home and stuck in the house, etc. And he got into Lego big time. The big technical kits, and just spent a hell of a lot of money on them because they're not cheap. Just built some, the real high-end Lego kits.
I mean, I got one or two around here that I can't remember where I picked up, but never messed with them, never built them. Got one here from Lord Nero Bomber, Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 remastered Easter eggs. So here is a collection of the Easter eggs in the Tomb Raider trilogy. So I guess the remastered edition. So link in our show notes as always.
And I did watch this. Obviously, as you know, big fan of the original games. I haven't picked up the remastered ones. I may do. But some of these Easter eggs are like really, really inside baseball. Just like, yeah, I would never have spotted that. And I consider myself a fan. Taito Titan Cab. According to David Gyrick, the bizarre Taiko Titan arcade cabinet. And it's a fairly lengthy article, some good pictures on there of the arcade cabinets.
Awesome is what it is.
Yeah. They built with like the big sort of insect head and wings on the top, and there's another one that's like a futuristic robot, a robot knight, according to this article. But yeah, it's why they did it, what happened to some of them, and some pictures of one that someone has worked on. Yeah, interesting article on the arcadeblogger.com. So check it out.
Looks like a couple of these made it out into the world.
Yeah. Looks like
yeah,
it's in
there's
his
one guy here
garage.
who's restoring one. Dude, yeah, that is something else. Guys, I'm telling you, navigate your way over to the Retro Gaming Roundup show notes page and take a look at the link for this story. And what a neat piece of fiberglass. That's, wow, I'd love to have one of those in the collection. Just when you think you've seen everything in this hobby, you haven't.
No, you haven't. And I have pasted that one in chat there. Neil Barmer says, out of curiosity, do you read the news in order they are received or backwards? Generally in order. SoCal used to read them backwards and we'd meet in the middle. But generally in order, although if we do, let's say, an NES one and we spot another NES one, 3 or 4 down, we'll sometimes jump to that and stay on the NES theme. But normally we're not that organised, so we just do them in order. But if there's one that I see that someone else may do more justice than I would, then I'll skip it. And so, we're all in the same mailbox. We can see what's read and what isn't. And so we'll just work our way through it like that. We did try sort of planning this and saying, well, I'll do these 5 and then you do those 5 and then we'll mix them in and then you do that one. We'll all talk about that one. And it just became a nightmare.
Train wreck.
yeah, we never bothered.
It was a terrible idea.
It was.
All right, got one here from Gareth Hamer, and I'm curious about the details on this one. It says a new Star Wars game is coming to Dreamcast. So I'm not aware of anything that Star Wars licenses that isn't involving millions and millions of dollars. So the story here says, Dream of the Rebellion, a Rogue Squadron-inspired shooter, is making a jump to the Sega Dreamcast. Star Wars developer Frog Bull. Okay. He said it's inspired by the Rogue Squadron series and is not a port. Okay, great. The 8-minute long video shows gameplay of the Star Destroyer pursuit mission with interceptor voiceover by a C-3PO sound-alike, authentic movie sound effects, and John Williams' iconic scores play over the new Star Wars opening crawl. Okay, so I'm just scrolling down for the part where he says that he was able to get licensed, or next week we'll be reading Disney halts the production of I don't see here where he says that he's. I mean, like I said, I'd rather see this be made, and whoever the rights holder is for that part of Star Wars goes, cool fan project. See how popular we are, but we'll see what comes of that. Either he's one of the few indie Dreamcast developers to work a commercial license, or he's gonna get a petted out letter from them. So.
Sorry, I'd got sidetracked by a message from one of my children. Just had to take care of that. What time did What time did Sparkle say he was joining? Was it about 5:30?
About 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. And what? So if you heard the top 10, we got confused. I got confused by time, and Scott got confused by, I think it was date. He stumbled over what year it was.
Only after I was here.
yeah. I was planning a lovely evening of coming home from work, have a shower, get changed, make a nice meal, sit down, casually eat that meal, come and do the top 10. And then I'm just about to put tea in the oven, and Scott's like, I'm here. Ain't nobody else here. And we completely forgot America's clocks went forward, and so I didn't have the extra hour that I thought I did. So we're only 4 hours difference at the moment. So I think ours change next weekend. So we'll be back to the 5-hour difference. So, yeah.
stupid idea created by stupid people. So, got one here from Lord Neil Bomber for the N64 VR, and the guy makes a VR environment. It says game, but game may be stretching it.
We did that one earlier. Is it coming again?
What's that?
We did that one earlier, the N64 VR.
Oh, you already hit that?
Yeah.
Okay, that may have been while I was off fucking about with lawn darts.
Possibly. Neil Barmer sends this one, though. Manic Miner Uno. Here is a nice Hackaday post about someone porting Manic Miner to the Arduino Uno with audio and monochrome video. And I did look at this, and it just looks... I mean, the sound is good. And the video is good. It's crazy. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where you think, like, well, how much time did they have? And I'm not too familiar with the Arduino. I know of them. I know people use them for various things. But Manic Miner wouldn't be the first thing I thought of. But, yeah, very good article. And you can see it at your leisure.
Well, Atari, which let's just call them New Atari because it's not Atari, but New Atari may be doing something headed in the right direction here, but I don't know. Let's face it, they said they were going to release the 2600, and I said, okay, great. Any asshole can shove a micro ATX into a case and call it a console. It's the software environment you make on there. You're going to need a store or a social environment. You got to make this like Atari, and never went away. And they're out there with a full feature, and they didn't do any of that. So after 25 years away, Atari is returning to the arcades with its Recharge series. Okay. So off the Time Extension site submitted by the Random One, Atari is bringing its Recharged series to the arcade. So I would guess that Atari has a website here for it. So it looks kind of like what they did with the Intellivision, where they were going to reimagine some of the games, right? So Atari has done this a number of times. Back in 2011, remember when they did those CDs that had all the reimagined Atari games on it?
Oh, I've got two.
That they were giving away at
was it Taco Bell?
Taco Bell,
yeah.
yes.
They had like Centipede and there were 4 of them. I've got a couple of sets of them somewhere over there.
So there's been a couple where they've, updated the games, right? So I don't know if this has any relationship to that, but I think the games don't look awful, and they've got, Berserk, Quantum, Caverns of Mars, Asteroid, Centipede, Yars, Missile Command, Gravatar, Breakout, and Black Widow. So those are credible Atari titles. If these games are good, and depending on what kind of hardware they release them on, I could see this being a good thing. And if this leads them in a good... it's not like I want them to keep making shit products so we can have something to pan. They bought the Atari name. I'd rather see something good come of it. They just haven't done that to date. But let's see what they do.
It's interesting, people's take on things. So we were chatting a little bit. We mentioned Star Wars, and there was some chat going on in the live chat about Star Wars and how Disney's ruined it. And they were talking about the shows, and I put The Mandalorian was good, Andor less so. I've not seen any of the others. And Neil Barmer says most of what he was talking about The Mandalorian, and he said he just seemed to be running errands.
So, Mike, you dropped off the call again.
We're back now. Yeah, you disappeared on my screen.
You're back.
I probably disappeared on yours. Yeah, Neil Barmer was saying the Mandalorian, he just seemed to be running errands. I thought it was a good show. I do like that one. I watched Andor. Wasn't too crazy about that. Probably watch the Boba Fett one next. But I'm not in any rush to, devour them. I'm not a massive Star Wars fan, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I like the first 2 or 3 episodes, like, oh, this isn't so bad. And then it just became the predictable thing I thought it would be, and it just fell apart. So, got one here from Dave Lanke. He says maybe something for Scott to play. Ooh, okay. System Shock is coming to consoles. So, okay. Let's see what they do with it. I hope it's good. I will keep an eye on it, though.
Just going back a little bit, I don't know if we covered this one. Official teaser trailer for Ready Player One Battle Royale. The third-person Battle Royale experience. Is Ready Player One based on the book? And then the film? I'm guessing it's a game based on that, is it? I don't know.
At this point, it's such a franchise, I don't know which came first, the chicken or the
egg. Either way, it was sent in by Gareth Hamer. And Gareth Hamer, every so often in Discord, posts pictures of like this retro setup that he's building. And I keep joking that we're going to go over there and have a retro weekend. I'm not really joking. We need to come down there and experience your setup. So I've invited myself. Obviously, I'll invite other people as well, and we'll make a weekend of it. I'll
Where's that, Michael?
Tell you what you could do. Get your good lady and Mrs. Hannay to go shopping together. And we'll all come by your place. How's that for a plan?
Good distraction move.
Yeah. There you go. You're welcome.
So, got one here from Lord Neil Bomber, Street Fighter II Restoration. Here is 8-bit guy restoring a Street Fighter II. I like restoration videos, relaxing. Perhaps it would be nice to know if Scott would have tackled it in the same way. Off the bat, I can tell you no. I wouldn't necessarily have done some of the things he did the way he did them. Other things are just standard, perfectly sensible practice. Some of the things he's doing, I've learned over the years, are not the best practice. But, we all start somewhere. And, the one thing I do like that he actually got right that everybody else gets wrong, when he was putting on some side art, the pro move is to curl that sucker around the side and cut it off even with the trench, the T-molding. It looks great until it doesn't move, is to take a razor blade and neatly slice it along the edge. So it has this perfect, crisp edge. Looks way better than when you fold it over into the trench. But then after a couple of days of reality, it starts lifting up on every corner. So, no, always good to see somebody trying their hand at it, and got to get started somewhere.
One from Gareth Hamer. Pang has been enhanced for the Amstrad systems. An article on Indie Retro News. Great game, Pang. Just, talking about the Amstrad, I was just dicking about with all the computers on Sunday. So I had to go and open up at the Computer Museum. Normally there's a few other people do the Sundays, but I had to go in, open up.
Give us a little walkthrough of it, man. I literally have done, a walk through the museum there. But what's an average dude? I mean, you're helping to run a classic computer museum. It's pretty cool. What's a typical, what was your day like there? I mean, what would people see if they came by?
So went in there. So Joe's wife was running the cafe and that side of things, but they needed someone to go in and turn all the systems on. So I went in. They've got the little arcade, about 7 or 8 machines in there. So boot those up. That's fairly simple. Go into the classroom. They've got 10 BBC micros. So flick the switch on. The computers power up. Then you go around each monitor. Flick the monitors on one at a time. Start the projector up in the classroom. Get some old computer programs playing on there. and then just generally go around, start at one end of the museum, and it's kind of done in a timeline, so starting, very early systems and working along chronologically, so just booting everything up, and some have little routines that we run on them. Some, we'll just leave at the basic, the command line prompt, and others have like an SD interface, so we'll maybe load a game on a few here and there, or just leave it on a menu so that they can look for games, and they'll have cassettes near them. There was a woman came in, and she came in with her husband and a son, and the husband was just going mental for like Sensible Soccer. Oh, I've not played Sensible Soccer for 30 years. Can you load it up on the Amiga? So I loaded it up on the Amiga for him. And then his wife was saying, oh, I used to have a VIC-20 and I used to play this game, and you did this, and you did this, and then you had to land the plane at the end. And I said, sounds kind of like City Bomber, where the plane goes across the screen and you drop one bomb at a time onto the buildings, and the buildings disappear, and you've got to clear the landscape and land. So I said, it sounds like City Bomber, but on the VIC-20 it was called Blitz. So I go into the software cupboard. We've got like glass cabinets full of all the software for all the systems, and I found it, Blitz, on a multi-cassette for the VIC-20, so we actually had two of the same cassette, like 4 games on each side of the tape. So tried loading one side, it wouldn't load, and tried loading the... Anyway, eventually I got Blitz on it, and she just sat there playing Blitz. Hadn't played it for years, just such a basic game, but, people come in and have these overriding memories of their childhood, playing, a certain game on a certain system or whatever. And so you're just helping people out like that, and just going around making sure everything's running. So like if a kid's been on the PS2, or for example, and there's discs everywhere, they put this game in, that game in, you're just going around after them, put the games back in the cases, make sure there's a game running if people are walking around and what have you. So just that kind of stuff.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. So I forget why I got onto that. So this Amstrad story reminded me. So I was just in, get some time in between, helping people out. I'm just going around looking at and playing about with all the different systems. Some of the systems that I remember and had access to. I only ever knew one person who had an Amstrad. It was a girlfriend, and she had a 464, and so didn't really get to play too many of those games on it. Used to play a few games on her, but hey, just exploring, different systems that I just never got a chance to see. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah, if you happen to be in the UK for business, pleasure, and or laying low from the law, make sure you drop by the Northwest Computer Museum and say hello to UK Mike.
I might say hello back.
He might not. Got one here from Lord Neil Balmer. Did you ever want to make your own multi-cart for the Game Boy? Well, your wait's over. Bucket Mouse will show you how. So, apparently, he does exactly that. Starts off with a PCB, populates it, solders in, it looks like a ROM, a flash chip, and a CPU, and some kind of small EEPROM, maybe a boot PROM. Anyway, he makes a little Game Boy multi-cart and then shows you how to flash it up. So, Mike, you were needing a solution for that ancient multi-cart of yours. Now you have it.
Indeedly do.
I think that's the other one we got. Wow, here's another one from Lord Neil Balmer. Those ambient background music videos that are filling up YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently somebody has one based around the Windows 95 soundscape. So it starts off with the Windows 95 start sound and loops, and it says it's pretty much just the Windows 95 start sound in a loop. So
I did listen to a bit of that. I was underwhelmed.
What would you say the most musical sound without coercion. Like, I'm not talking like the Flopatron or something like that, but what's the most musical device that you can think of? While you're pondering that, Mike, I'll tell you my favorite. The Seagate ST225 MFM hard drive. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that particular model.
It was a 5.25 inch, MFM or RLL hard drive, the old 2-cable type PCXT AT era. And it just had the most musical, whimsical chirp as it operated. It was pretty cool.
I don't know what my favorite musical device is. Probably the Nintendo DS, because I wrote a song on it. On the.
Is it like a piece of hardware that creates a music?
Inadvertently creates a noise. Yeah. Was it Neil who had? It was either a dishwasher or a washing machine or something, and when you turned it on or started a program, I forget which, it played like a few notes from the Mario theme.
Huh. I don't remember that.
Lord Neil Barmer, you did a Game Boy multi-cart one. I don't know if I can't remember if you followed up with the Game Boy backup device, the GBX cart, also from Lord Neil Barmer. If you're a fan of backing up your own Game Boy games, then this might just be the device you need. The GBX cart RW is a small device you can use to back up your Game Boy games. Let's have a look. It's got its own website, gbxcart.com. For Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. Backup games, backup or restore game saves, rewrite flashcards, save your Game Boy camera photos. You can... So it's just a board, but you can buy a GBA reproduction shell as a case. $33 plus shipping. Doesn't seem too bad, does it? Chat is flying by.
Reasonable. So, got one here from Gareth Hamer. Dig at your Nuon, guys. So, Jeff Minter has apparently released Tempest 3000 for the Nuon. I damn near forgot what that was. I was like, I was thinking, what was that? What the hell was that little portable Motorola or, whatever? And it was that one that was basically the second iteration of the Philips CDI. Yeah, this was the second iteration of the CDI idea. Oh, this time we'll just use DVDs. It'll be way better. The kids are going to love it. And nope.
I missed the description of that one somehow. Doing a lot of copying and pasting. Wish I'd never said I'd do it now. But anyway, can't do enough for those listeners, can you? They could have told them to do some retro gaming, may have had a better response, says Gareth Hamer. What's this? A huge part of London is going to be hell on earth this weekend. Well, most of it largely is.
Everything inside the city limits.
Yeah. For the first time since 1986, when it opened, they closed a section of the M25, and it's one of the busiest sections as well. I think they're doing it again this weekend, or was it last weekend and the weekend before? I forget anyway. But interesting, for the first time since 86, it's never been actually closed. Obviously they've done work on it and closed lanes and put contraflows in and that kind of thing, but yeah. It did cause some mayhem. And the article that he says, they told people to stay at home and paint. I don't know why they chose paint, which is why he said they should have told them to do some retro gaming instead.
Okay, got one here from Gareth Hamer, and it simply says, "What is this abomination?" And in the link, it says, "This Frankenstein Wii N64 GameCube console gives us nightmares. Is this another prototype?" So, Mike, You go look at this goddamn link. This is straight out of the SoCal Labs. No, what was that guy's name? The Retro Gaming Laboratories.
Carlson. Oh yeah, the Frankenwii or whatever it was called.
It's a Wii glued to a GameCube and a lot of filler putty and just gobs of paint and
an N64 on top.
And plenty of decals. God.
I shall
It's
post
like
this
you
in
don't know where
chat.
one console begins and one console ends. Yeah. It says for sale $100. Hi, is this available?
So in chat, Lord Neil Barmer says, what? London only opened in 1986, but after that, Timothy Doom said, still got my SoCal clear jag shell. Think it's worth money.
Yeah, you can get a high cap 50 put underneath it, and the millions will come rolling in.
Yeah. Profits. Oh, Glenn Minette's joined us. We must be running late. He's in the good old Down of Under. So, hello, Glenn Minette.
Oh, we even read one of his email earlier.
Yeah, we did.
Which he was probably composing when he should have been focusing on the track in front of him.
Yeah.
But, hey, not my concern.
If he'd sent more in, we maybe would have read more.
It's just unbelievable. We are all so excited and so thankful for everybody. And like I say, thank you for everybody that has participated in this because it couldn't have been done without everybody.
It couldn't have been done without everybody. Lord Neil Barmer's not allowed to win again. Although he is the first. But I'm going to ignore that. I can probably delete it if someone else...
Yeah, well, you said he's not allowed to win again just moments before it popped in, so it was legit.
Andrew Hannay. I think you've already won something this month. You've won the right to go to Revival while your wife goes shopping.
Sponsored by UK Mike.
Go to retrogamingroundup.com/prizes and pick a prize. And then email me. Well, tell me in chat what you've picked and I can remove it. And then email me your address and your prize, and it will wing its way over to you at super fast speed and be there before the summer.
Glenn Monet here. Always find it funny listening to you guys live. You sound drunk due to not listening at 1.5 speed. Well, Mike, are you having anything to drink there?
I had 2 cans of Guinness left over from Paddy's Day, so I've just had those, but now I'm on water, so no. Won't be drunk Won't be drunk Mike tonight. What was I going to say, though? Looking back through that. Oh, yeah, that's that 1.5 thing. So there's a podcast I listen to, and they pulled up a study that someone had done on people who listen to podcasts at like 1.5 speed. And maybe there was some hokey science going on. I don't know. But it increased people's stress levels and gave them, anxiety and that kind of thing. But there is one podcast I listen to at 1.5. The rest I listen to at normal speed. Security Now with Steve Gibson. I listen to that at 1.5. And when I listen to it at normal speed now, it sounds slowed down. He talks at a reasonable pace, but there's long gaps, and so it just kind of gets rid of those gaps. So, yeah, that's the only one I listen to at 1.5 speed. But you shouldn't listen to us at that speed because you'll miss the hilarity, the nuance, and you'll increase your stress levels.
Yeah, that's stress level stuff. Fuck, you get stressed out from podcast speed.
I'm going to listen to this podcast. Can't say still one. It's really finished.
Now, see, Timothy Doom, he's got the right idea. He listens at half speed.
Yeah, man. Andrew says, who, me or Neil? Well, Neil technically won, but he's already on 3 prizes tonight. So we'll give it to you, and if Neil gets upset, we'll send him another mug.
Well, we have his address, so we can just send him his address and they can sort it out.
Yeah. I've sent your prize to Neil's house. Go and get it. Here's where he lives.
So, got one here from Gareth Hamer. Pico Pie unlocking the Xbox. So I saw this come up a few days, weeks ago, and somebody is using the Pi Pico and developing a mod chip, in this case for the Xbox, although anything could be game. So this is actually just a very obvious, and I'm surprised it's taken this long. Although I bet if I looked, somebody else has done the same idea. Most of those mod chips are in fact not purpose-specific developed, devices. They're just little microcontrollers. Like in the case of the PlayStation 1 mod chips, that would just basically play back the digital fingerprint of an authentic disc being inserted into the system, where it would have that bad track or whatever the little mechanism was that signified original. But yeah, I mean, a little microcontroller and a couple of wires, and you can do all kinds of stuff. So with the real multi-core, support of these things, yeah, there's going to be some amazing new features being added to old hardware. I mean, think about it. The little, thumbnail thing that consumes, barely a few milliamps is got worlds more power than the device it's assisting. So. And one here from Gareth Hamer that I had pulled up that interesting. Alcorn is auctioning off from some prototypes. So basically Arclear says that Al Alcorn, creator of Pong and chief engineer at Atari in its earliest days. Well, some of that's true. So it looks like there's a lot of pictures of things, but is it the things he's auctioning? Designed by Ted Dabney, Noel Bushnell, and Al Alcorn, Space Race. So there's a space race, I guess, in there. Okay, it's got replacement monitor, has the original PCBs. Yeah, not a very good article. It doesn't give a
it's not a huge amount of detail.
Yeah, but anyway, well, you know that the Space Race has a aftermarket monitor. All right, interesting. But no, it's you figure a guy's getting older, maybe values the cash a little more, or needs to clear out a couple rooms. Who knows? But you know what? It's nice that I mean, at some point that stuff will end up out there in the world, and be nice for him to be able to see other people enjoy it.
Yeah. Just check your WhatsApp, Scott.
All right.
Lord Obama, the Easy Flash Parallel. I don't know if you've covered this yet, but Easy Flash, the popular flash cart makers, have released a new one for the Nintendo DS. Its see-through clear shell looks right out of the 90s. Handy if people still need those. They're still making flash carts for the DS. That is a surprise. Don't look like it's got a full row of connectors either. The pins.
Well, I mean, maybe some of them you don't need.
Well,
clock.
obviously not for that, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. One from Gareth Hamer. This was interesting. Now, the patent uncovered for N64 that shows it could have had a DVD drive. Now, these kind of things sometimes mean something and sometimes they don't. Like, Sony every year or every, 3 years or whatever files a patent for a hardware idea. Not that they're going to do it. People get all excited. Oh, Sony are going to do this. No, maybe they just have to re-register that.
They want to preserve the rights to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe it doesn't mean anything, and maybe this, Nintendo thought, well, we'll just register it anyway, just in case. But what's interesting is it was around that time, excuse me, when games were shifting to optical discs, and the N64 stuck with the cartridge. So possibly, but it says here DVD drive, whereas around that time it would have been CD. So maybe they filed a patent for CDs as well and never used it and thought, well, let's do DVDs. You never know. So, yeah, but obviously someone in Nintendo was thinking about, should the N64 have, optical disc, or should we stick with the cartridge?
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, okay, they did, Mike, I replied to you there. Remember they did, damn, what am I thinking of? Like late in life redesigns of consoles where they eliminated features, but maybe they were thinking of doing a Sega CD type move and adding the features. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they did the N64 DD, didn't they, with the floppy drive underneath?
Yep.
Maybe they were planning the same with, like you say, optical.
Okay, got one here from Peter Gibbs. Someone has finally found a use for the NES expansion port. All right. What have they got? He says, happy 200, by the way. I'm a few episodes behind and only just caught up. Wow, that's there's a lot to catch up, man. Someone has finally found a use for the NES expansion port, so it plugs in and does what? Okay, it will pave the way for things like 4-player Bluetooth, SNES controller support, Famicom accessory support, and runs various third-party add-ons and devices. So it sounds like it's an adapter to use the port for something in the future. Oh, and he says that doesn't actually do anything yet. Well, I can't wait to get my hands on one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one I was scrolling through for earlier and couldn't find because of the swathes of news items we've got today. The Steam Deck can be modded into a massive Nintendo DS. Not sure why you would do that. This article probably says. I'm not sure why you would do that, but basically you would attach another screen to the top of it, and this website is doing its best to stop me from reading it, but I'm going to persevere. So yeah, it's like an additional screen you put on the top, and it connects to, it's obviously going to be plugged into the USB-C port, probably a 3D printed bracket to hold it in place, and you can have a massive dual screen system if you really want it.
Wow. There's one here that I actually looked at before, but I hadn't looked through the whole video. It's even better than I thought. So this guy here, Lord Neil Ballmer, sent it in, and it says, ever wonder what it would take to build a Macintosh emulation machine with a small Linux PC and 3D printed case? So a guy built a thing called the Bruintosh, and it's basically like a Mac Classic, and it's got, a modern screen and a modern PC running Linux as running a Mac emulator. So obviously this could have been done in anything. Like, the case here is just totally superfluous. But it is really cool, the effort he went through to, print the case halves and do all the filler and the sanding and make it all look nice. So it is pretty cool. I don't know if I've had the time for that, but it is cool.
Andrew Hannay says, where do I go for prizes? RetroGamingRoundup.com/prizes. That's where you go. And Gareth Hamer also sent in that new flash cart for the DS. 8-bit do mechanical retro keyboard. So is this the in addition to the NES one they did, or is this the NES one? 8BitDo launches a super cool retro-inspired mechanical gaming keyboard. It was originally launched in the USA last year, but the demand has been so great, it's now available in Europe as well. So I'm guessing it's the same one, the NES sort of themed keyboard. And 8BitDo do some good stuff. I'm not sure I need a keyboard by them, but I do really like my controller. And here is my controller.
Yeah, I've got one of their controllers I've had for years. That's the same one, I think, almost.
Yeah.
Oh, one that I saw a few weeks ago, Gareth Hamer submitted. Mod releases Unix-like operating system on the NES. So yeah, a guy composed together a little graphic command line, a command line interface in lieu of the normal game graphics, and it kind of looks like Linux. So I don't know quite what you do with it, but you can have it.
One here from Gareth Hamer, and he says, little pissed at the moment, so if I'm falling behind, then stick these articles in the me sent over last hour. So I'm not quite sure what he was going for there, but drunken emails.
I'm not sure he was either.
No. Basically, he's telling us that Irem's R-Type is coming to the Analog Pocket, and I haven't posted a link in chat for a while, so there's one. Yeah, Irem's R-Type is coming to the Analog Pocket. Now, is it directly on the Pocket? Because you can play R-Type on the Pocket via some systems, but I'm guessing it's written directly for it. Does that sound right? I guess so. Irem's M72 hardware coming to Analog Pocket. No. Okay. Yeah, it's using the M72 arcade hardware, apparently. So thank you, drunken Gareth Hamer.
Got one here from the random one that he seemed to think was important, so it probably is. And it's the next generation of the Pico 8 is now available. I thought, okay. And it says this is this time being somewhat more of a slightly more powerful fantasy workstation. So it says here the Picotron is a fantasy workstation for making pixel art games. Okay. I'm still not sure what it is. It's available for $11.99, so I guess it's not an actual device, it's just software. But
yeah, so the Pico 8 is a software fantasy console, and you can boot up the console in software, play games, and write your own games. And this is kind of along the same theme, but you are using it. From what I saw when I read his link, was you can make like game music and other more complex music that the Pico 8 doesn't quite do. Is my take on it. It gives you like a little bit of a desktop. It's as though you're running a computer, but it's like a virtual computer, but kind of an 8-bit computer, if that makes any kind of sense.
Almost. Got another one here from Gareth Hamer, and it says new fan-made prequel to Sonic has arrived, and it's gone. I'm sure they've already gone after it. Sonic Overture 95, and it looks like Sonic. Yeah, I mean, I just wish that people could develop stuff like this and be left alone, but doesn't seem how it's going to be.
Something else that wasn't meant to be was Panasonic's unreleased Nintendo 3DS rival. Somebody has one, and they want $45,000 for it. What's it called? The Panasonic... Oh, it's a non-working Panasonic Jungle handheld. If you haven't heard of this particular device, don't feel too bad. It was announced in 2010. It's a clamshell clamshell style, but the bottom, instead of being like a dual screen, the bottom is a keyboard and some controls. Somebody has one that doesn't work and wants 45 grand for it. Not going to be winging its way to me anytime soon, but I'm sure someone will pick it up. Maybe not for that price.
Not for that.
No.
So, interesting little article here, sent in by Gareth Hamer. Is retro gaming bigger than ever? Personally, I think it's slowed considerably. Well, I think we've got a couple of generations of new products that both new retro products and fixes, enhancements for retro items. I think they're pretty compelling. But this is just basically sort of a generic piece about the London video game market and how people gather together and buy. Basically, they're describing the vendor area of any gaming expo, which is good. You should go.
Andrew Hannes finally claimed his prize. He wants the Dreamcast book. What is the Dreamcast book? Let's have a look. Dreamcast book? Oh yeah, Dreamcast Year 1. By Andrew J. Dickinson. If you are not on our Discord, go and check out our Discord. There's been some pictures posted this last week of random books that people have found written by an author called Mike James that isn't me. And then when I was in the museum last Wednesday, I found 3 of them. There's like a guide to Spectrum games, a guide to BBC games, and programming on this, that, and the other. All written by an author called Mike James, so I grabbed them. They're over here somewhere. But there's pictures of them all together in Discord. So get in our Discord, and you can have this fun chat with us every single day of your life. Wouldn't that be a thing?
It is a thing.
It is.
So last one I got here for the good folks, Mike, is mod your Xbox without a game. For the original Xbox, some might call it the Xbox One, there is a soft mod available now. So you can use, I guess, the USB adapter and do a mod. So that's, we're going to be figuring out stuff for these consoles for decades. So not surprising.
Not surprising at all. Yeah. We have skipped through a fair old bit of news tonight. Sparkle isn't going to make it in time, so Scott and I are going to wrap up. Scott is going to go about his business, and I am going to go to bed. But we rattled off a whopping 72 news items, I think, which still leaves plenty in the bag for next month, so keep on sending them in. Like I said at the top, to those who weren't here at the beginning and only joined late, Andrew Hanai. We had, I think it was about 113 in total this month. A whopping month for news, so we will roll some over. Thank you to everyone who sent news in. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Thank you to those who came and went. And thanks to those who persevered all the way through. And thank you to all those who claimed prizes. And thanks to those who gave up a prize because they'd already won 3. Andrew Hannah, you can't resist. Myst is the best game ever. There's always one, isn't there? There's always one. You can go off people, you know. So, yes. Lord Neil Palmer typing in chat there. Thank you, everybody. Where has that gone? Where is it? I can't find the clip. I was going to play the clip and I can't find it now. So I won't bother. Unless it was in there. Was it in that one? Yes, it was there. Of course
Your hand
it was.
has been forced.
Instead of me saying thank you, everybody, for joining us, I'll leave it up to this lady.
It's just unbelievable. We are all so excited and so thankful for everybody. And like I say, thank you for everybody that has participated in this because it couldn't have been done without everybody.
It couldn't have been done without everybody. That's right. Otherwise, if everybody hadn't sent in news, it'd just be 2 old dudes rambling on about bullshit. So, Thank you for giving us something else to talk about.
I think we could do that too.
Oh, yeah, we can and do on occasion. So, yes, all that remains is for me to stop the stream. So, good night, everybody. Say good night.
All right, Michael. Good night, and we will talk to you soon.
Nighty night.